What is going on today, YouTube? It is Northeast Ohio Sports Cards, and we're back for another week in review for, what is the date? The week of July 13th. So, let's get into a few things. We talked about this on last week's week in review. 86-87 Fleer Basketball Wax Box Case went up for auction. Actually, might have been 2 weeks ago, but we've talked about this in the past video. It is now live. If you guys would like to get in on this hot action, the bid is up to $1.2 million with almost 3 weeks to go. So, just a fun one there. These are extremely rare, and this may indeed be the last one in existence. Obviously, probably no one watching this video is in on this, but I have just found this amusing and fun to track how much this is going to go for. So I'll be keeping an eye on this over the next few weeks to see what this ends up at. My initial guess was around 2 to 2.5 million, so we will see if it can get there. But we are halfway home with a long way to go. So that's that one. Second thing in the news of ridiculously high-end sports cards that none of us can afford. This LeBron rookie RPA sold for a record for a modern day card. 1.8 million for this LeBron. 14 of 23. BGS 9.5. Cyclic and signature with a number and stuff on it. But yeah. So this closed just the other day. So, all right, let's move out of things that we can only dream about and into more realistic things for us to potentially to be able to afford. So let's talk about some cards that have moved a lot in the market the last week. I don't talk a ton of baseball, but I found this one as baseball season starts back up at the end of the week on Friday. Or Thursday, I think the first game is, and then the full season starts on Friday for everyone. I reviewed a lot of the different baseball players. Cody Bellinger prices seem to be the hottest at the moment, specifically this Topps Heritage PSA 10. Started the week at an average of $70 and ended the week at an average of $96. So it is up 35% and almost up 25 bucks. You can see on the chart there it went up, dipped a little bit, but still briefly got over 100 bucks, all the way up to 120. But a nice rise on this card over the last 7 days. Like I said, I'm not much of a baseball guy. I know that the market does not treat the Heritage brand as like the true rookie per se, but I really like the way these cards look. I know they're not fancy, but I dig the old school look of these cards. I just really like them. Of all the different years, I don't have much baseball, but the baseball that I do have are Topps Heritage cards because I just like the way that they look. So that's that, and they're much more affordable than like the Topps Update Series 1, Series 2, and stuff like that when it comes to a lot of the hot players. But yeah, Bellinger stuff is on fire lately. So that's our little trip into baseball. Next, another sport I don't talk about a ton, football. Football prices have gone nuts the last 7 to 14 days. I was looking over the charts and market movers for football cards and was shocked at some of the stuff going on. This is a Lamar Prism base PSA 10. Nothing crazy. Just a base Prism. This is like basketball levels of craziness. It started the week at an average of $1,400. It ended the week at an average of $2,500. It is up 80% in the last 7 days. What? What is going on? look at the change in dollar value. Look at the what? What's happening? So you could tell people are definitely gearing back up for football season. This is absolutely wild. I don't know if this is market manipulation or what is going on, but what? Holy hell! And this is not our last football card on this list. So that's Lamar base PSA 10 Prism. Let's look at his optic. Another very popular card. I love the optic cards. I just think they look so clean, so nice. Similar thing here, though not as wild and crazy. I actually saw the optic first and then stumbled across the Prism second. But same thing. Started with an average of 328, ended with an average of 399, and up 21% for a change of $70. If you were in the Lamar Jackson purchasing mode, this card drastically underpriced to this card. These two should not be that far off. I am not as familiar with the football market, but in the basketball market, just as an example, a PSA 10 Luka base Prism sells for just under $1,000 right now. A Luka base PSA 10 Optic sells for $500 to $550 right now. So about half. I don't know if those same ratios would carry over to football, but in my opinion, this seems drastically underpriced to this. So if you're in the Lamar markets, this might not be a bad one to grab before the season starts. And as the things ramp up to the season starting. Based off this data, this feels drastically underpriced to me compared to the Prism. Like I said, I'm not as familiar with the football market, so maybe that does not correlate as well, but I know that Optic is well respected in football. So just something to consider there if you're looking for some Lamar stuff to pick up, because odds are you're probably priced out of this one. Patrick Mahomes, football again. Once again, Optic, PSA 10, base. Nothing crazy, not hollow, not nothing. Started the week at 900, ended the week at almost 1,200, 30% change. The big news with him, obviously, was that he signed that contract extension. Let's switch back to basketball, product, or a sport that I know much, much better. Prism retail wax boxes. We talked about this last week. They had jumped up as of the beginning of the week, which was the 12th or 13th. These were going, if you remember last week, we talked, they went up almost 50 to 80 bucks in a week. They have jumped again. They started the week at around $400 to $420 a box. They are now currently $490 a box. They are getting ready to break the $500 mark very soon. So hopefully you jumped on the bandwagon last week and picked some up because they went up another almost $80 a box in 7 days, which is insane. And I can see them continuing to rise. The 1819 retail Prism boxes, I believe, sell for almost double this currently. That's obviously Luka and Trey, but you got the old Zion and Ja to support this one. So this is going to keep going up. Sealed wax, always the best investment if you can resist not ripping it. That's the tough part. More basketball. Zion based Don Russ. We've talking about this card in a lot of videos in the past as a good one to pick up raw and to get graded. Try to shoot for PSA 10s, and they sell for a nice pickup. Well, I don't know if people have caught on to that, because this card was relatively stable around $20 to $25 for months, even while the rest of the Zion stuff went up. However, this card has now started to go up. Looking at the 14-day trend on this one, it started at 22, ended at 30, up almost 35% in just 2 weeks. It started the week at about 25 to 27, so it had gone up a little bit, but it jumped again. It went up about 20% the last 7 days, but it's up 35% the last 14. I still think this is a really good purchase at 30, because PSA 10s sell for 200 if you could get a good one. Now, once again, grading is no guaranteed, but so that's the Zion base. Donruss Raw having itself a nice little week, up 35% and $7 on the week. And I continue to see that rising, even with him leaving the bubble. Speaking of which, Zion leaving the bubble broke this week. No idea when he may return yet. He is probably going to miss at least the first couple games, most likely, just because once he comes back, he has to quarantine for X amount of days, and there's always the risk once you leave the bubble that you could potentially test positive. Hopefully that does not happen and we do not get robbed from that. I was curious to see if him leaving the bubble affected his prices at all. And it looks like there was a very minor dip and then they went right back up. So for the week, it's up 10%, up $75. They are creeping towards the most recent average sales at 783. They are creeping towards 800 for a PSA 10. So this was over a 7-day period. You can see they went up. They peaked middle of the week at around 780. This is around when the news came out. It dipped down to a low of about 750. Nothing that crazy. And then went right back up to 780 again. So there was probably a few panic sales here where a couple people undercut the markets. Maybe they had a little too much of a position on them and just wanted to lock in some profits. It dipped down, and then the market's correcting itself and going right back up again. I do not think him leaving the bubble should affect his card prices greatly, unless he comes back and either tests positive or he's gone a lot longer than he initially thought. They're being extremely vague on it at this point. So if he has gone long term and it affects him missing a bunch of games, it could suck the wind out of his sales. I don't think it'll cause him to crash at all or anything like that, but it would probably cause his prices to level out and probably slightly dip. Whereas as of right now, they've been going up about 10% a week fairly consistently. And then the last card we've talked about this player a ton too, because he's one of the hottest ones in the market right now. Jayson Tatum, Prism base PSA 10, has cracked $700. It had been floating the beginning of the week right around $650. This card had been between $600 and $650 for a while, but we have now eclipsed the $700 barrier. Last average sales were around $713. It's up 8% on the week, up $50 a card in the last 7 days. So, and I once again continue to see this card creeping up. Let's see, we are about 2 weeks away from the league restarting, a week and a half. I could see this getting close to 800 before games start back up again. Tatum is still extremely popular, and I think, as we've talked about in previous videos, there's a lot of value in his non-Prism cards still at the moment. One's getting pretty pricey, but his select raw and PSA 10s, I think, are still really good gets. I also think the Optic PSA 10s are still a really good gets. So that does it for this week. Once again, as I always forget at the beginning of the videos, so no one will probably actually see this, don't forget to sub, like, and comment down below, and we will catch you guys on the next video. Peace.